Ace here from Skunk Anansie. We are in summertime. It is in Cambridge, the gig tonight, and we've just been out since, well, June time, so it's about 2-3 months we've been on tour, tail end of the tour. I'm going to show you my rig rundown. So this is what I've been using for the whole tour across Europe. First of all, let's go with guitars. So we have my this is my favourite guitar, the one I play all of the time, which is a Tremonti signature model from around about 2008, I think, something like that. It probably says on the back, okay. Yeah, 2008, there we go. I've modified it a little bit. I've got 5708 pickups in it. I've got coil tap in it as well across both pickups. There's a block of mahogany in the bridge so it doesn't go backwards, so that it's got a bit more sustain, and then if a string gets broken, it won't go out of tune, hopefully not too much. I think they're the same original machine heads. As you can see, it's been through the war a bit, but that's my most solid guitar, and I've been playing that every day since 2008. So coming on from there, I was lucky enough to get an Ace signature model, okay, and so this is these have been modified slightly. So I have three. So this is one of them. This is actually the most recent one. It's the same spec, it's got the same neck thickness. It's a little bit different. It has binding on it here, but 5708's in here, coil taps as well, but this has not got the slate kind of wood grain. It's a solid black. So that's my D sharp, okay, so I'm tuned down a half step for this one, okay. Going across to another one here with the ivory pick guards put on it. 5708's in there as well. This one is tuned to E. This is my second guitar, so if I go out of tune or if I break a string, it's got some of these lovely black ebony kind of machine heads on there. It's the same thing, block in the bridge, 5708's coil tap as well, okay. And then my third tuning, so I have three tunings, is in D, so down one whole step. This guitar is kind of heavy, slightly different, that it's got different binding on it, but this is also an Ace signature. I think this is the oldest one I've got. Same thing, nice neck, coil taps, but in here I've got the they are the vintage treble and bass pickups in there, and this is tuned down to D, so we play in D, D sharp and E, okay. Same thing, stickers on the back. So basically 4 single cuts. The reason I have 4 single cuts is because when I want to change guitars, I don't feel anything different in the neck or anything like that. It just feels like the same guitar but in a different tuning. And then, you know, I have this trusty old Martin in the background there, which is my acoustic guitar for the tour, and that's me, a very simple setup. Okay, welcome to my rig, actual guitar stuff. I mean, we are, preliminary guitar band, so I'm not out on the Kempers and all that stuff yet. I still prefer the valves and the proper kind of dedicated heads. So I have two sides to my rig. I have clean and I have dirty distortion. So the clean is a single 4x12 over there, and this amp, this Koch amp from Holland, okay? This is called a Powertone 2. Sounds like a really loud Fender amp, okay? And this goes through this rack. This rack is MIDI pedalboard, and these songs will be named as certain banks, and the sounds in there will all come on at the same time, so like delays, modulations for each song. So I just switch to the clean sound and it goes to that. It's quite a pure signal. Then we go to the distorted side, where we have kind of like a stack each side. So when it's coming out the front, you kind of like have that record kind of thing, like bang, clean in the middle. Start at the bottom. Bottom amp is a JCM 900. I've had this amp since it came out, so about in the 80s I bought this when I was really young, and I've had it ever since. It's been on every Skunk record, so that's preliminary the Skunk sound there, okay, very 90s kind of sounding, late 80s, 19th sounding Marshall distortion. This amp here is brand new. It's just replaced my trusty JCM 800. This is a Koch amp as well, same company, but this is a prototype. They've made this one for me. They've based it on the original kind of schematic of a Powertone 2, and now they've just kind of added a different tone kind of section and stuff and matched it up for me. So this is taken over from the original 800, which I love the sound, but I'm enjoying this a lot. So at the end of the tour, I'll go back to the company, we'll check it all out, and if it's passed the test, it will come out as a signature Ace amp, and it'll have a logo badge on it and a bird and all that kind of thing. So these two go on together, distortion goes on at the same time, bang, out the front. Then it goes to clean sound for all the nice, beautiful sounds. So these will go to an analog pedal board, which we will go and have a look at right now. Okay, so here we are. This is what's on the floor for all of the shows, my pedal board. The initial chassis of this big kind of thing here with the switching system is a Mike Hill board. Mike Hill's very well known now because he makes AC/DC and Coldplay and all these kind of things, and they're like ridiculously expensive boards. But this one was actually the first one he ever made back in the day that started off his career in pedal boards, okay? So it's a little bit of a mess today because we've added a couple of pedals to kind of come into the tour. We've added a smart gate here because we were getting a little bit of noise. We've got a dropped detuner because we've now got a song that's in B, and obviously my guitars don't go down to B, but I have seen that Pierre's got a 7-string now, so that's an interesting proposition. So we use this when we need it, but we don't use it all the time because it changes the signal in line using this pedal. So it just gets plugged in for the one song. Switching system, dirty, clean. There you go, that's a Mike Hill board. And we've got all the inputs and outputs, so you can have 3 amps going at the same time and the guitar in. So the 2 distortion together and then it clean on its own. So that switch it seamlessly. And when you've got one turned on, you can turn all of the pedals on the other side and it won't make any difference. It only turns on when you switch the system. So if we go across here, first of all, let's look at the MIDI board. That goes to the racks that were in the heads, and we can just switch songs here. Whole songs are in the MIDI board, okay? And then that's for the clean sounds, okay? So if we look at the pedals, the distortion pedals here, first of all, I have a pad. The pad is the same basically as me turning my guitar down, but not having to turn it down. Just takes the edge off the distortion so I can have a slightly crunchier sound without the full gain of the amp. Fifths, so for my root and fifth stuff, Charlie Big Potato, all those kind of songs. Octave pedal, we all know what an octave does. I play it with just, I think it's like 1 octave up and a slight octave down. There's lots of really heavy stringy riffs for that. Envelope pedal, that's one I've had for like, well, since the beginning of the band. They don't make them anymore and they break all the time. So I've gone through many of these. This is like the signature sound of Hedonism solo, for instance. Fuzz pedal is actually not a fuzz pedal, it's an overdrive. It's a Hardwire CM2. Just fantastic workhorse of a drive pedal, just really, really works. So I like that. The same as the chorus, Hardwire chorus. This is for like really super fuzzy sounds. This is a Bone Shaker from Black Arts. It's a Dodd pedal, okay? And that's a very kind of Jack White, really fuzzy. So I use that on one song. And then this is a really trusty delay. This is the Hardwire delay. It's one of the best kind of working delay pedals I've ever had. So I haven't got a lot of pedals and I don't use them all of the time. A lot of them are for flavors. The main thing is valve sounds off the rig and then just pushing it with a bit of overdrive on there. These things just pop in and out every now and then. And that essentially is my rig. So this board, 3 heads and some cabinets over here. This will finish the equation of the Ace rig, okay? This one here is brand new. This is my 25th anniversary. A lovely gift actually from the beautiful people at Zilla. They made this one for me. We spoke on the phone. I have some Zilla cabinets that I record with. They're just great, great cabinets. So they made this one for me and I said, can I have like this kind of like real hard kind of, well, I suppose like 90s Mesa Boogie or something grill. So they got the grill cut for it. Inside is vintage cream back Celestians and the outside is camouflage because way back in the beginning of Skunk we always had everything in camouflage. Our clothes, everything, okay? So that's the 25th anniversary cab. Down the bottom is Cornford cabs, fantastic. These are custom made, they are vintage greenback speakers, which is very Led Zeppelin stroke free, that kind of sound, if you know that kind of sound. Skins cabinet here, which is a 1960, which is, I suppose, got a bit like a kind of 90s kind of sound, isn't it, you know? Koch amp, this is a clean, handmade from them, speakers mounted backwards, so the clean sound is like super, super warm and really nice and really loud. Okay, so that's my rig. And then the other side of my rig for the heads, this was a custom made Marshall cab for me a long, long time ago. I wanted one that looked like Randy Rhoads' cab from Ozzy Osbourne because Randy Rhoads is a big hero for me. So we got one made, right? And this is also vintage greenbacks in here, okay? And then This Cornford cab has, I think they're called vintage 30s, G12 30s, which are Celestians as well. So it brings a little bit more kind of crisp brightness in it. So like there's the depth, the kind of dull depth and the brightness of presence out of these. Mix them all together and you've got the sound of Skunk Anansie. And that is my rig.